Hey family, thank you for tuning into Our Roots podcast with Joseph Babaifa. We're only the strongest roots, see the light, brought to you by Botaniga Candles and more. And if you haven't had the opportunity, be sure to subscribe, like, comment on, and share this video. Phil, we're live.
We are live to everybody, and everybody is here in the chat. They're waiting for you, man.
I love these. I love these a lot because we get such an influx and we're able to interact with everybody and, you know. Hello, Shango Iami. Sea lafiani bawoni.
How do you pronounce that? Say that again.
Sea lafiani ba.
No. Their name.
Oh, Shango Iami elegunde o sanyimbola.
All right.
That's a banging name. That's awesome.
I'm sure that wasn't taken on YouTube already. So that's,
no. Yeah, it's very rare.
So what's going on, man? How's life?
God is good, man. I woke up with my babies this morning. You know, got to spend some time with the wife. Went to get a haircut. Shout out to my barber, Manny, for fitting me in last minute, you know, making sure I look good for the public. And spent some time at the store, which is a rare occurrence at this point. Was able to do some work. Had a salad. And here we are, you know, we were able to.
Salad.
Yeah, it was exciting stuff, man. And
I feel bad now because I'm eating Popeyes over here.
I know. I saw you with a couple fries over there. I don't know what you guys are doing over there, but I'm jealous. But
he got me a fish sandwich.
Oh man, fish sandwich, yo.
Well, guys, since this is a live show to the public, we want to announce that, you know, we're going to try to get to all of the comments that we can, but, you know, we get a lot of viewers, but we are welcoming super chats. So if you do have a super chat, you go ahead and drop that, and your comment gets a brand, not new, but it's a great little sound.
Oh, man, the sprinkles. Yeah, we love it. Between sprinkles and elevator music, yeah.
And so with that said, we actually have one.
Beautiful.
They didn't leave a comment. They just wanted to give you $5.
Wow, so, thank you. Thank you very much. Please put a comment if you have the time, but if not, thank you so much.
All right. Okay, so everyone is saying hello.
Hello, bigger.
All right.
Hello, Psychology of Warfare. Love that one.
All right.
Ah, Rich.
Yeah,
Maru,
Richard.
what's going on, guys? Shout out to Queens. Yeah.
All right.
Sonia, hello.
All right. She got a question. The one who gave us the $5 donation here. Here we go.
Oh, thank God. Iborui boy, I am a woman Omo Shango with Otrubong Iwori, which is also known as Otrubong Adakino. I'm making Santo in April. What is your advice for me? Otrubong Adda, or Otrubong Iwori, is one of those Odus where we can never forget about Orumila. If we don't have Orumila, we desperately need it. But even after performing Orisha, it is very key that the person maintains their, you know, habits with Orumila. There are some houses now which have a concept that's a little off base at times of, you know, during our year in white, we abandon Orumila. By no means. We should always keep up our habits with Ifa, especially in that sign, because Orumila was the one that saved the person there. So as long as you keep up with Orumila and you follow the instructions of your elders and, you know, that which is the rules of the Iaoraje, you will have a very successful year, spiritual career, and life.
Shout out to Hemp Lord.
Hemp, what's up? Oh, he's saying hello to you, Phil. Hey.
You know, everyone's just saying hello.
What do we, boy? Damon, thank you so much. Yep. Carlos, Haborua Boye, Oboato, Yamaya Camino Okute. Expound, please. Okute is a broken down version of the word ogunte. And when we split that word, it means ogunote, which means Ogun was betrayed. This is actually the path that was married to Ogun and unfortunately had an affair, and was ultimately, attacked by his dogs. But, in Ire, or in a blessed context, she was the one who actually would go into battle with Ogun, or would advise Ogun in the art of war. That's why, this path really has nothing to do with dogs. Ideally, if you are crowned to this path more than just having it, dogs are not ideal for you. But it is the path of Yemaya that has to do with Ogun. You will see her utilize the Ashaba necklace as well, which is the metal chain with all of Ogun's tools and utensils. And it's a very popular Yemaya path. It's actually my Yemaya path. So definitely probably the most common one.
All right. You know what? I need to go grab that photo the painting or the art that was made. I gotta go find it. I'll find it and I'll post it on the picture here.
Oh, man. I actually got notice of that yesterday. I would mention my godson, but he's a very private guy. He has a lot of things going on. A lot of people don't know he's involved. But things are going very well for him. And he, it was very emotional. I said, good Lord, look at this, just looking at Shango in the background. And I think he really captured my essence.
Is it on your personal page or is it on your, oh, I see it. I
put it on the IG, and it's gotten a beautiful response and just a beautiful painting and so humbling. I was almost embarrassed, but very thankful. And, it's just a beautiful painting.
I got it.
Oh Lord, here we go. Look at the beard, man. They got it. And if you've interacted with me on a regular basis, that's kind of how I look. It's usually sweatpants and a white tee and, a fitted. I don't always have a cigar in my mouth. I do have my fanny usually. And, but forget about me. Look at how glorious Shango is. This is why everybody thinks I have crowned Shango. I'm not trying to front, but man, that's my guy, man. He's beautiful. Look at the dreadlocks. He looks like Ronnie Coleman, man. He's gorgeous, man.
Props to you. Yeah. You said your godson?
My godson had it commissioned. He's good friends with a digital artist. And, that thing will be arriving in the mail soon, I guess. That thing is gorgeous.
How big is it?
I think it's life stature. I think it's like 6 feet. I was talking with Poroye about where we're going to hang it up. I was going to put it right at the entrance, but she said absolutely not. So I think it's going to be delegated or relegated to the garage, where we have all of our functions. So it'll be grandiose.
All right. Back to the comments.
Borui Boya, Omo Batalao, Fungaye. It's a beautiful name. Excited to build. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's a beautiful name, Ofungaye. Oberosung, please. Oberosung is also known as Oberosung Pong. It makes reference to Oberosung having the knowledge that was encompassed on the Opong, which is the tray of Ifa. If the person is eligible, they should perform Ifa initiation on any of its various levels. But ultimately, Oberosung can do whatever they have a vocation for, because it speaks of practice of the religion on all different levels. So whether you want to be a medium, an Oriate, a Bawalao, an Orisha, you can pretty much do whatever you want there, with the guidance of your elders.
All right, this one I'm going to put on the big screen here is highlighted from Shannon.
Shannon Torres, bendición. I just got crowned in January. Congratulations. And I'm a child of Elegua. My name in Santo does not have Eshu in front of it. Do you know why that may be?
Do you need the TV turned closer to you, or are you good?
I can pretty much see it, yeah. Mind you, in the Odu of Iroso Matelekun, it says that the children of Eshu usually have their names starting with Eshu. Thank you so much. That's good. And I have heard of people having the name Elegua something. Now, mind you, the name Elegba, which is really how it is termed, is a title. It means he who takes that which has been received, making reference to Eshu taking the abodes from heaven to earth. But I can't say that it's incoherent. I mean, obviously Elegua is something that's always been present in Cuba. You'd have to ask your elders there on their ideology and how your clan functions, because it could be very legitimate as well. There's multiple pieces of information corroborating many different ways of doing things. KW, hello, Baba. This channel is life. Thank you. Thanks for all that you do. It's a pleasure. Not sure the correct way to word this. How do you avoid upsetting the Iami? And can you talk a little about appeasing them? You can't really avoid upsetting them. They're very temperamental. But an easy way to, definitely, bother them is by mistreating women. So usually the Iami, it's all about, maintaining the feminine aspect of your life in cohesion. So, and sometimes what someone may be saying to you might not make the most sense, but still we have to always try to understand where they're coming from and what they're trying to say, because with our predispositions, we might not be understanding and causing that feminine wrath to kind of be placed upon us. How to appease them? The way you appease the Iami is through a bawalao. In the Odu of Babao Sameji, also known as Babai San Meji, was where Orumila was identified via Ierosung as the only way to appease the Iami o Shoronga, unless you are an initiated priest or priestess of that, cult. But, on this side of the world, that's not really recognized. So if you want to appease the Iami, you go via Bawalao, and it's not an energy that you're just like, well, I want to make an offering to the Iami today via Ipeshe, which is how it's known. It has to come out in a consultation. It's obligatory if you come Ayewo, and it might come out even if you come Ide. So that's how you would go about that.
Shout out to your subscribers. They have the most unique names.
Yeah, sure.
Look at this one.
Best kept Sally. Ashe.
That's great.
That's what's up.
Yeah. All right.
IK, what's going on, Iboru, brother? Used to be a member. Will rejoin soon. Any advice for Irete Gutang, Omo Dudua, Orishanla? Irete Gutang is known as the exorcist of the herbs. And please join whenever you have the opportunity, brother. No pressure. We appreciate all of your consistent support. This was my late father-in-law's Odu. It's where Obadala cursed the herbs because they were being utilized, incorrectly, or they were being abused. So Rumila came and lifted the curse off of the herbs so that they could be used for Orisha and Ifa processes. In that Odu, it says everything in moderation. Everything has to be in moderation, because Odua and Obadala, we're noticing that people were consuming herbs in an unmeasured fashion, and because of it, it was leading to their own self-destruction. In that Odu, Obadala had to be very careful, who he left his family around and things like that. But, most importantly, get back with your elders, do a lot of self-study, but those are probably the two most pertinent stories there for those Orishas.
Oh, look at that.
Richie Kong got gifted one Joseph Babai Ifa membership. Thank you so much, Rich. Oh, wow. Another one by Gohan. Oh, Gohan Kashed was gifted a membership by Richie. That's very nice. Thank you.
Cool. Here we go.
Vadim. Bendiciones, Baba. Awofagang irete wang wang omoele gua. Love life sucks. Any advice? Irete wang wang is the Odu of flowers. It was where, the gesture of giving flowers as a sign of romance first manifested. So Ifa says that, we have to delve into that aspect of ourselves, making sure we're going over all the minute details when it comes to trying to interact with someone on a loving basis. So do all the little things, and, that area should improve.
Hey, this is from Bigga.
Can a bawalao be a palero? Absolutely. Now, what's socially acceptable now is that you do palo before Ifa. Now, mind you, a lot of the bawalaos that arrived from Nigeria got scratched to be able to preserve that tradition when they realized, genocide was happening. It's frowned upon now. But, for example, I know brother bawalaos who were paleros beforehand, that even though they don't perform the initiation themselves, they still go to that hayamiento and direct that hayamiento, even though they're not touching anything. That's to each his own, honestly. People got scratched after doing Ifa, and I don't remember hearing of anyone dying. So that really depends on you and the people who do it. But it is socially frowned upon. So all of these things have to be taken into account. It's not always what's most correct. It's sometimes about what's most productive. So to each his own.
All right, we got some love for the painting.
Dope painting, Mafere Shango. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, IK. Hemp Lord, that's hard. Man, that's a great name. Jenny D, wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Mihala.
Yeah.
The painting, yes.
All right. Lots of love here.
Bendiciones para todo. Oh, blessings, Mike. Thank you.
All right. Well, there's one that's a little longer here.
Here we go.
Wait, Buffalo Billy. Here we go. I'm telling you, everybody has the best names.
That's all, man. It's a reflection of our channel, man. We got a lot of great personalities.
Up top.
Buffalo Bully Brass Band. Yeah. Osarosung speaks. You went down on me. Osarosung speaks directly regarding who dictates, whom reveals the Alabadori. What Odus supports utilizing the Orindi Logun of Eshu to determine? None. In the Odu of Oyekun Sa was where, because here's the big thing now. And, regards to everybody and their viewpoints, right? If you're going to use the Orindi Logun, don't ask at all. Just crown whoever you want to crown, right? But in the Odu of Oye, because everyone says, no, you can use the shell of Elegua as well because Elegua knew everything without Orumila. No one knew everything without Orumila. And Orumila didn't know everything without Ifa. In the Odu of Oye Kumbirikusa was where Eshu was confused because he didn't have an answer to a question. And it seemed simple, but he was so complex with his interpretations, he couldn't come down to a conclusion. So what he did is he went for divination with Ifa. Orumila pulled the king for Eshu. If Eshu knew everything via the shell, he would have never received the king divination via his hand of Ifa or Ifa initiations, where in the Odu of Iroso Umbo he did Ifa, in Obeade he did Ifa, in Eyobe he did Ifa. The shell is not to be utilized to identify that. If you're going to use the shell, don't use anything at all. Just crown whoever you want, like they do in Isheshe. You look at your Odu of Hand of Ifa, which ironically they have before they make these decisions, and you initiate into any affiliated deity. But to use Erindi Logun to identify Orisha goes in taboo. It could even frustrate that Orisha within the process of crowning it. So either receive your Hand of Ifa and have the Bawalaos ask, or don't ask anybody at all and just crown.
Did we do Ogbeirete?
Yeah, Obeade. No, we haven't. It's funny, I was just mentioning now, that's where Elegua actually did Ifa. It's one of the Odus where he crowned and did Ifa. So Obeade is the sign where Eshu came down from heaven, or Elegua, better said.
Okay, all right. This is from Gabriel.
Gabe, thanks for all the great info. It's our pleasure. Is it possible to speak a little bit on Ode Ifa and what he helps with when you receive
him?
That's actually in the Odu of Obeade as well. Ode was actually, it depends on how you interpret it, because there's a couple different things here, right? Baba Ode in Isheshe literature, and even some parts of Lukumi literature, is Babaluaye. That's in the Odu Baba Ogundameji. So some people say Ode is nothing more than another manifestation of Obaluaye before he got sick after killing the beast, as it's known. With his 17 arrows. From another standpoint, in the Odu of Obeade, he's also in Irete Yekun. He's in my sign of Irete Sukao, Yekun Birete. Ode was Ochosi's father, right? Where he was absentee. Or in some versions, Ode referred to Ochosi or Ode as the child of Yemaya in the Odu of Ogundameji as well as Obeade. Ogundatrupong speaks of it as well. Ode has a lot to do with legal issues, they say, because he's the Orisha of the hunt, right? So when you're doing something illegal, you are hunted and you are thrown in a cage, which is incarceration. But also he has to do with the accomplishing of goals, scaling, growing, all these different things. It doesn't always have to be a deity received by people who are doing illicit activity. Unfortunately, some deities have been relegated to, okay, you do something illegal, receive this. That's not how this works. At the end of the day, all of the Orishas help with everything. It's just a matter of analyzing your Odu of Hand of Ifa and seeing how that deity is going to specifically work with and aid you. But all the Orishas help with everything, but they might focus on one thing more with you than somebody else based on your sign.
All right. Moving on.
Luz, why does Oya need 9 misas? That's based on house. I mean, we don't do 9 misas to crown Oya. The standard within Lukumi has always been 3. With the last one culminating in what it does. Now, I don't have an issue with people doing 9 misas. I think that's fine. But that's really up to the house. There is other previous ceremonies that kind of eradicate around that number that I'd be more emphatic on doing rather than the misas. But if the funds are there and the desire's there, it's completely up to the madrina, most importantly. Madrina's word is final, or padrino. But for some people, that can be spiritually overstimulating. So refer back to your elders. They're going to give you the best answer on that.
All right, this one is going to be on the big screen.
I'm going to call him B times 4. Is there an Odu that supports the mythology the Obadala was albino? The Odu Babao Sameji does. Lastly, what is the reasoning behind the Omo Odu of the Erindi Logun? My studies state 16 studied with the 16 Meji. That's in the Odu Irete Gudang. There's only 16 signs in the Erindi Logun. There are not 256 signs. Because if you notice, and obviously you've looked at some literature, the 16 Odu Erindi Logun went to the house of the 16 Meji, respectively, one by one, and studied and learned how to speak because they said their father, Owo Ero Erindi Logun, had passed away before teaching them how to communicate or how to divine. So they had to be, mentored by each of the Meji. Ironically, there was 16 of each. Obadala being an albino, they say that's in the Odu of Babao Sameji. And it's also pretty much referent to whenever a sign speaks of cotton. Because, in Osameji was where the Iami Shoronga in the form of crows tried to eat the cotton tree and its fruit, but it grew these little spikes to kind of keep them from resting to be able to eat. But there's various Odu that speaks of the albinos, like Ikarete, one of the 16 priests of Ifa originally was Awo Awangfing, which was the albino, or Afing, forgive me. The Awangfing is the blonde, making reference to the light skin, Awo. So, there's various Odus, but probably the biggest ones, Babao Sameji and Ikarete.
We got...
Oh, fairy dust. Thank you.
No comment. They just decided to leave it.
I really appreciate it, guys.
AW.
Thank you. I love the emoji on the side. If that's an emoji, the hype hippo.
Right.
That's awesome.
It's a hypo.
Oh.
I just made that up.
Oh.
I just made it
a little freestyle.
All right, here we go.
Mommy Lax. Out of curiosity, is the owl...
They got the best names. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Out of curiosity, is the owl associated with any Orisha or have significant meanings in Ifa? He's associated with Orumila. He's seen as wise, but even though Orumila is wise, he is also fierce. And the Odu Obotura to you is where Orumila would sanction the hit on his own kids if they didn't uphold the standards of Ifa. In the Odu Obofumbile, it speaks of the owl going to war with the grasshopper, and the grasshopper, due to his ego, being lured to the owl's nest, basically complimenting him and feeding his ego and hypnotizing him with those nice big eyes. And in the middle of the grasshopper rubbing his legs together, making the beautiful music the owl said he liked, the owl took advantage of the moment and ate him. So that's the story about the owl.
Ooh,
it's one of them.
All right.
Alexis, any recommendations for feeding my Eshu? If we're talking about just offerings, rat, fish, corn, red palm oil, guayabas. I'm not a huge fan of honey because to clean him is a task at that point. Definitely refer to your elders if you're trying to switch it up from time to time. And then another thing is studying your Odu of Hand of Ifa so that you can see what Eshu liked specifically in your sign, because all the Eshus didn't like the same thing always.
Okay. All right.
Ochunfunke, can you speak on the sign Obara Ogunda? Obara Ogunda is also known as Obara Gunya. And what it says is Obara, the king of the land, Ogunya, through war brought tragedy. That Odu says that we have to avoid conflicts. We have to live in a pacifist manner. We can't go looking for always having the last word or trying to debate and things like that. Sometimes we just have to accept things as they are. But in that sign, you can interpret, Shango or Egun, looking for conflict or constantly trying to mete out their ideas upon people, and, it was met with backlash.
So the Super Chats features was being slow.
Awesome.
So the same question we just asked was from that person. So
awesome.
Same question, but
you speak on okay.
Yeah,
also the importance of spiritual significance of the Kwanado ceremony. I can't really talk about Kwanado here because that's very private, but I will say that as a Bawalao, I'm not saying the Kwanado is more important than the Ifa, but if you don't do Kwanado, you will never see the fruits of your Ifa. So that.
All right, so right above it.
Okay, Solie. Forgive me if I mispronounced that. Just wanted to say your videos from the first have been so transformational in my learning process. How profound to be able to reconnect with one's ancestors. Thank you. Was that what I was supposed to read? Or was awesome. Well, the pleasure's all ours. We're happy that we're able to just relay the information. We were very blessed to receive it as well. I got a roots reading and my Odu is 8-8. Any insides advice? Well, as far as a roots reading within Ifa revealing an Odu, I'm not sure because from what I understand, that's a hoodoo process. Forgive me if I'm mistaken. The 8-8 within Ifa or within Orisha doesn't exist. We'll just say the number 8, which is Egunle. And it shares the name of Eyobe, not because it has the same information as Eyobe, but it was mentored by Eyobe. Organization. Our elder, Beto Berosun, whenever he would be asked about Eyobe or Eyounle, he would always say, organize yourself. Even $20 has its disbursement and its allocation. So, always be organized, whether it's gratifying or you have to sacrifice to be able to make it work. Have a schedule.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Ella, please tell us about Yewa's children, Boromu and Borosia. Who are they? I'm imagining they, and what do they represent? When we talk about them, that epic is usually in the Odu of Otura Rosomon, where Boromu and Borosia were the children. But in reality, those are deities that have everything to do with Odudua. That's in the Odu Irosoade. They're the guardians. They were seen as the bodyguards of Odudua. They definitely have more to do with Odudua per se, even though Yewa was their mother. I've never seen them given in that context. So if you want to know more about them, receive Odudua if you're eligible for it. There we go. Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
All right.
Bigger, can you explain the Odu of Ochebara? Thanks. Ochebara is also known as Ochebara la Nube. Ifa says that we have to be very careful with surgical processes there. Because Bara la Nube can be loosely translated to within the knife or within the body the knife was presented or made its way. You have to be very careful with maneuvering any type of weapon. But apart from that, be careful with surgeries. Be careful with any type of invasive procedure that needs to be done or, God forbid, needs to be redone. Because it's an Odu of medical malpractice to a certain degree. And also be very careful what you eat. Be careful with choking, like any sharp objects going into the body or exiting. It's where the shrines of Egun first manifested, ironically. I'm a big fan of that Odu. And another thing is don't study things you're not supposed to, because in that sign, Eshu actually started consuming the gray matter of the brain because the person would study aspects of Ifa they weren't initiated to be eligible for. So get with your elders, get organized, because Ochebara is somebody that likes to learn. So you have to be prepared for that, mentally and spiritually.
All right.
Kid Glide. Boruboya, do you do Oshe Ifa, and is it common within the Lukumi tradition? So here's the thing. Oshe Ifa, which means I work Ifa, right, is something that's really introduced for people who are starting off to kind of build those habits. If I recall, there's another verse about it in the traditional, in the Odu of Ogun Narosum, but within the Lukumi Ifa, it's in the Odu of Obeunle, or Obewale. This Odu basically says that we should be attending to our things every 4 days, or as we do in the Lukumi, Eshu once a week. Do I do it? To be frank with you, is never really imparted upon me by my elders. I always had pretty good habits with my Orishas anyway. Its benefits cannot be understated either. It really depends what stage of your journey you're at. For someone such as myself that has a little bit too much going on, Orula, to be frank with you, sometimes I'm only able to say good morning. But, when I do have the opportunity, absolutely. It really depends on your schedule. But if you're noticing things aren't kind of clicking and you want to see a little bit more movement within your situation, like as far as Ire coming in and things like that, definitely incorporate it. But I've never been in the process of reading myself every 4 days or 16 days or anything of that nature. I follow Obarakoso. Obarakoso says you read Ifa with Iging once a year, and that's your reading for the year. Everything else is a follow-up or maintenance, Papo.
All right. Here we go. Moving on. This is about Yamaya.
6021R. Bendiciones. I have a doll to honor my mother, Yamaya. Can I light a candle for her even if I'm not initiated yet? I can't say no. More than likely, though, I don't know what kind of doll it is. You just want to be careful creating these, kind of pseudo-energetic Orisha altars. They're not really legitimate if it's gotten to that point. Now, if it's an Egun doll or something that has to do with someone in your spiritual court that has to do with Yemaya, under the guidance of your elders, absolutely. But what we have to be careful with is getting a statue, a cloth, certain items like shells and things like that, and kind of creating the spiritual space that doesn't have any process with it, because it can attract a lot of negativity and cause it to kind of mount up in your home, you know, giving negative symptoms.
All right, this was on a big screen.
Unit, I'm not going to try to pronounce that. I can't, it's a little bit far. Iboruboya, greetings. Not a member, but coming soon. Thank you so much. I'm crowned Badala, but have Otura Meji and Mano de Orula. Oh, wow, that's good. The Odus speaks of passing before our parents. Does that prophecy change now that I'm
crowned?
As long as we, you know, use a lot of judiciousness, there's no reason for us to pass before our parents. The reason Baba Otura Meji says that, it's a story that a lot of people might not have, is when the children of Obadala were disobedient and they stopped attending to him. And because of it, Obadala made them starve to a certain degree, where they had to give their last to be able to do Ifa divination. Otura Meji was revealed. They had to give 2 white hens in a very specific fashion to Obadala. And after Obadala received it, he said, my children will never go hungry again. That's where the song Pa Baharaiheo was born. You know, for everybody that's heard.
Man, keep going.
No, it's too long.
Keep going.
And
everybody reply, keep going.
Oh man. All right, I'll do it. Pa Baharaiheo, Pa Guehuro, O Shamini Ho Laiheo. Which is basically where the children were, you know, wailing and asking Baba Rayeo, or Baba Layeo, depending on how you sing it, saying, Father of the world, you know, help us, we're calling you.
Dropping fire emojis.
That's Baba Otura Meji. So
drop those fire
definitely
emojis.
Get with your elders to do the ebo to Obadala there. Or, well, yeah, if you're not a Bawalao, at the end of the day, you need for that ebo. Should be done, obviously, by Bawalaos, because it has to go through the tray.
Great job, man. You have a great singing voice. All right, here we go.
Priscilla, what are your thoughts about so many letters of the year? I follow Lázaro Huerta runs the Casona still, so I follow that letter, especially while it's in his hands. He's nothing short of a gentleman. May God bless him. As far as the quantity of letters of the year, I really have no opinion on it, because, you know, if someone wants to take the time to do all of the preliminaries to be able to do this, that's perfectly fine. I mean, you know, I don't necessarily anticipate myself doing it within the near future, because, you know, I'm such a fan of what our ancestors left behind for us. But, you know, for a brother to choose to do that, or even, you know, find another reason for Bawalaos to get together, I can never have an issue with that. So to each his own.
All right. Everybody's dropping fire emojis.
Oh, God. Fuego. Sonia, what happened when Bawalawo gives you the hand of Ifa, then disappeared? What do you do? The short answer is, if you're lucky enough to have your guardian Orisha and your Odu, find another Bawalao. And don't wait too long. I mean, there's no reason for an elder to disappear on anybody. You know, I've had the same number, I think, since like freshman year in high school. But you know, if it was to change, I'd reach out to all my, you know, my initiates and be like, hey, this is how you can contact me. I'm a little bit of a different case, because it's kind of hard to disappear at this point. But, you know, for anybody else that, you know, is searching for their elder, you know, 3 to 6 months is more than enough time to wait before you have to receive services somewhere else, you know, unfortunately.
All right.
Bygone music. What should I prepare for before my Ocha? I'm supposed to be crowned Ogun. Mentally prepare for the year in white. I think that's the biggest thing we all should prepare for, because it's kind of like a diet. You don't want to just wake up and be like, oh, I'm going to start eating healthy. You want to kind of start phasing things out beforehand so it's a smoother transition. It's similar with the year in white. You know, start going out less, start taking less photos, start kind of removing yourself. I would say about 2 weeks is more than enough. Little by little, start incorporating more white, you know, but you don't have to be all white beforehand. But those are things that help for sure.
All right, here we go.
Priscilla, my god sister here next to me in Mano, she is Ochebile, who's going to crown Obadala in 2 weeks. She asks any advice. Humility. In that sign was where Obadala's son was Obi, and he was all white. And then, you know, there's the famous story of where he kicked the undesirables out of his house, and Olodumare disguised himself, and he smacked Olodumare on accident, and he ended up becoming brown on the outside and white on the inside. So that Odus says that, humility is the biggest thing, and avoid making enemies and accept people for who they are, and, try to use coconut oil as much as you can within your habits, whether it's cooking, whether it's for your skin. Ultimately, the coconut fat there, provided a lot of medicine and benefit to the person. Hey, RAIFFN2243. Thank you so much. First and foremost, told myself I was going to get a reading this year, but didn't, and now I'm stuck in a rut. Is this a sign the Orishas are upset? Non-initiated. Drew. Thank you for the super chat. The Orishas don't get upset. Those are human emotions. What you may be experiencing is just the repercussions of not getting a reading and performing certain things in time. It's kind of like the doctor. The worst thing we could do is not go to the doctor and not figure out what we should know before it gets too late. So Ifa is nothing different, but just understand that whatever Orumila reveals, he has a solution for. So that could be a motivating factor.
Okay, here we go. I'll read it if it gets cut off.
Palo Egun versus Teja. Do both male and female receive? That's a yes. Their fundamental purpose is to align with Egun. Obliged, Oluo. My name is Ofungaye Apo.
Apologize for confusion.
No, not at all. In reality, these things should be given in conjunction along with Egungun. We at Botanica Candles and More, we give you everything all at once, so you're not buying things piece by piece. But they all form part of this real legitimate Egungun shrine, right? Which is the Ojubo Egun, or the Ibale, when it's referring to Egun sometimes. When I give it, I give everything. The Egungun icon, and I consecrate it in a traditional way, but I provide everything, because what I don't want is the day after tomorrow, one of my initiates getting visited by another priest from either side saying, oh, you're missing this, oh, you're missing that. Who gave you? We avoid all that. We give you everything. And we haven't had any issues.
We got 95 people watching right now.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much. Like the video, help the algorithm, let somebody know about the membership program or the channel. How appreciative we are cannot be overstated. Thank you so much for taking the time away from your Sunday to sit with us.
Yeah.
Nicole, any advice for those recommended to receive a hand of Ifa? Thanks so much. Receive it. Receive it as quickly as possible. Any day after 7 for girls or 9 for boys is overdue. So get in there, get in the right hands, go through your process, and listen and get your abode done as quickly as possible, and learn as much as you can from your elder. Jeremiah, peace, love, light, and healing. Thank you. Great singing as always. Thank you so much. You humble me. What have your interactions and observations of the sons
of Oya been like?
I mean, I actually, sons, I haven't interacted with too many. I remember when I worked at Home Depot in the flooring department, I think I met every religious person in Miami, because I swear to God, like a lot of people, I think it's just a grown-up thing where we all converge at Home Depot.
Do you ever know exactly where you're going in Home Depot?
No. And then you never know where anybody is, and it's really depressing when you're alone in the hardware aisle and you're looking for that one nail.
It's sad.
And they'll see you and they'll forgive me if anybody works at Home Depot. I used to work at Home Depot. I used to hide, but neither here nor there. I met a brother who is Osala Fobeyo Bawalao, son of Oya. Really solid brother, very nice. Just really normal guy. The sons of Oya can do Ifa as long as they, fulfill the criteria. Sons of Oya, I mean, the biggest thing with Oya in general is just spiritual stability, not overstimulating yourself to the point where, we can't even be within ourselves. I think that's really big, and it's hard for you guys sometimes, whether you're meant to be Bawalaos or not. That spiritual stimulation. You have to keep it under control. You can't overdo things, because things can kind of get out of control there. So that's what I've noticed. But overall, calm brothers. Really nothing that distinguishes them. One of the most famous Bawalaos ever, Tingo Trupong Adda, was a son of Oya. He was crowned, and he did Ifa, and he was Otrupong Ori. And, great Oriates. I mean, just really great spiritual professionals. Just don't spiritually overstimulate yourself. You're stimulated enough. You have 9. You have too many Eguns. Okay,
this one's from IK. A little different question here.
I was told if Ifa says someone should be a Bawalao, it should be free. Is that common or true? Hit here's the thing. Ifa is never free no matter who you are. That is completely depending on the elder's criteria. But the Odu of Ayobe says we should never necessarily do any Ifa process as far as initiation for free. If the Babalawo or the Orisha wants to be charitable in their work, as far as an ebo or whatnot, they're more than welcome to. But initiation should never be free per se. The Odu that speaks of this is Iroso Obe, but that is referring to the person who is initiated into the rites of Eshu, and then that's actually the La Letra del Año, by the way, and is only referring to the Godfather, where it says the Godfather should not accept any compensation for that Ifa initiation because it says they're going to receive much more after from someone else. But as far as just everybody's, any eligible man who has Hand of Ifa is identified to become a Bawalao. So that's not really a criteria per se, and that's not anything anyone should ask. So it would appear to me to be a little rudimentary. But yeah, no.
Can I give you some praise here? And I think everybody in the channel feels this way. It's like we don't prep for these questions. We don't know what any of these questions are. I'm literally just watching the chat.
Yeah, it's like Freestyle Friday. Yeah,
hitting the button, and they're coming up, and you're answering these questions with knowledge and wisdom and conviction and intelligence. And I just got to give you some props like that.
I appreciate you, brother. It's just been a long time talking about the same thing, and I think what helps is just enjoying what you're talking about. This is something I look forward to. Like I get very elated whenever I know I'm going to speak Ifa because I know what we're talking about, and then apart from that, I enjoy it, and I enjoy other people knowing it as well because it just makes us stronger as a community. So
I used to have an explosion. Didn't I have an explosion? I thought I did.
Explosion?
But, for sound effect.
Oh, yeah.
It's gone now, so I guess just the harp is permanent.
Oh.
So we got two.
Oh, God, back to back.
So there we go.
Thank you, guys. All right, we got one just showing appreciation. Thank you so much, Zave. Jump Designs. All your Omo Eshu guests have been male, I think. Have you noticed differences between the male and female crowned with Eshu? Oh, man. In essence, they're the same. It's just, there's a lot going on in that mind. The child of Eshu, in my opinion, has one of the hardest journeys because we're putting the absence of light in the entirety of the universe within their head. So, you'll be talking to them and they'll seem like they're not paying attention when they are, or they may become flustered and you have a bunch that they have a bunch that they're trying to get done all at once, and, it kind of goes into overload. I'm focusing more on the productive aspect of things. With them, it's definitely organization, but not to the point where they become rigid because that experience is very fluid. The child of Eshu might wake up and be like, I'm going to save the world today. And then, they end up, going for a workout. It's just, you have to take things in stride a little bit because your guardian Orisha is so involved in your daily process. You can't get frustrated when things don't go the way you want. He's going to make sure they go the way you need.
All right, we're just approaching 100 live.
Nice. Share the video, guys. Like it. Thank you.
In the chat, we appreciate that. We appreciate the fire emojis. That actually helps the algorithm.
Fuego.
Just letting y'all know that. Here you go. If it gets cut off, I'll read it.
All right. Can a person be informed via a reading if they are recommended for Hand of Ifa, or does the person have to inquire first?
At a spiritual consultation.
If you are a born human being, you are supposed to receive Hand of Ifa. No reason for a reading or any confirmation or anything beforehand. If you have a head, you are meant for Hand of Ifa because that head has to be revealed. There's people that have asked me this, and I've saved them the money of the consultation, and we've met the day of their initiation. I've had many situations like this. You do not need a reading before Hand of Ifa. You can go right in.
Nice. All right, this one's going to be longer.
Thank you for your wisdom and sharing. Pleasure's all mine. In my ita, I have Camino de Babalao. Awesome. Am I overstepping my boundaries by studying
Patakin and Odus of Ifa?
As long as it's the information within your Odu of Ifa that is eligible for people of your rank of Owofagan, no. You are not allowed to study anything else at that level other than what is eligible for you within your sign. So, for example, the Orisha priests, in conjunction with Babalawos providing the information, are able to study all of the things that have to do with their ceremonial process. or practice in general. But it has to be mitigated via Bawalao because, any random sign can have something that's crucial that is only for initiated eyes.
Hey, we got some replies about Home Depot.
Oh, gosh. That's insane because I worked at Home Depot for 4+ years, and I've had the same experience. I worked at the one on Bird Road and 117th Avenue, Southwest, and I was living over there. I was going to FIU and Miami-Dade. And I tell you, man, I wish I would have kept all those contacts because, you're young, you're not really thinking, but I had everybody's number. Everybody. I mean, I met everybody, and I just had hand of E5. Maybe that's why, I got in trouble a little bit. Shango was punishing me a little bit because I wasn't fronting like I was about all out, but, I was just in the mix a little too much. And he's like, you got to slow down there, Papo,
Okay.
Damon, Baba, how do you feel about jumping into the room of Ifa straight from the Santo room? I think it's great. I think that's perfectly fine. The year in white is not for everybody. But if you have the conditions and you have the means and, we're organized enough, hop, because you don't know what can happen in the course of a year. So jump. Right. Not going to be an issue. Reina, bendiciones, can you please talk about crowning while pregnant? Ooh. Nothing wrong with it. We just have to be very careful. We have to be very gentle. Make sure that no red palm oil, ideally should be touching you, ideally, because it's an abortive material. Some people say it shouldn't be in your bowls. Some people say you shouldn't interact with it at all because it's a metaphor for menstruation or menses. So I'm not a huge fan of it. If I had the opportunity, I would wait. But, everything's different. But another thing I'd like to state is just because you crown while a baby is in you doesn't mean that baby is crowned, by the way. Because some people say, no, if the baby's in you when you crown, automatically that baby has crowned said Orisha. Absolutely not. Every head has to go through their process individually. So that's a little side note there, just so, as conversations happen. Hey.
Another $2.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Talk a bit about Odirosun.
Love the name.
Littlefoot, yeah. Odirosun is a very blessed Odu. When it comes out in Africa, they say that it is the manifestation of God Almighty on the mat. I appreciate it quite a bit. I like it. It's definitely an Odu that marks further steps, and that sign was where Obatala crowned Orisha for the first time, or his son. It's the famous story about Chama Ruma Kodima. The parrot feather, etc. So I'm a big fan of that Odu. The only thing is Odirosun has to be very careful spiritually because the person has an Egun that, unfortunately may have taken their own life. And they need to be very spiritually grounded and sound, and they definitely need Egungun so that influence doesn't manifest negatively.
Okay, so someone's asking about a question you said earlier. So about the Orishas having emotions. So
okay, you said earlier the Orishas don't get upset. It's a human emotion, but I am consistently told the Orishas are mad at me.
What's the deal with that?
I don't know who's telling you that. I know for a fact that Shango hasn't come down and been like, I'm mad at you. And even if it happens at a tambor, the Orishas don't speak like that. They don't have time for emotions like that. When we talk about these energies, because they're far beyond the human psyche, it's just repercussions. So, if you kick a dog, God forbid, God forbid, you might get hit by a car. I mean, it's repercussions. It's not punishment. It's simply nature and karma and, balance. But I don't know who's telling you the Orishas are mad at you. And if they are telling you that, let's be productive and look towards the solutions of, how can I get back in line or in balance with these energies?
All right, here we go. This is from Power.
What do you recommend for someone who doesn't live around a big spiritual community? Build a very good relationship with your elder, receive hand of Ifa or get initiated, and study and learn as much as you can. But, theoretically, there's no obstacle there, but practically there's a huge one because there's certain aspects of Orisha you learn in person. At that point, you have to identify where you're staying or where you're going and, be realistic with your goals based on distance.
All right.
Reina, would also love to see another video on Oba with a crowned initiate. If you know anybody who'd be willing to be on the channel, please let us know. We'll have them on. Chair is open.
Okay, here you go.
Alex Reyes, hello. Got consulted recently and want to know what you can speak on Odimeji. I can find a lot of contradictory literature. Odimeji, I mean, it's a Meji. It's speaking of further steps that the person has pending processes that are going to help them if they pursue them. And that Odu is where Orumila cut off the Bawalao's heads for reading Ifa backwards based on their own convenience to take advantage of the client. So Ifa says be very selective of who consults you, who initiates you, so that we don't have any mishaps.
All right, put this one on the screen. It's from Maria.
Maria, it's been on my mind heavy to seek initiation, but I want to make sure I'm doing it for the correct reasons. Would you suggest seeking initiation for the purpose of finding out my life's purpose? Well, Maria, that's the whole reason we get initiated. Even though we're not having it present at the forefront of our minds, the only reason we get involved in these things is to find out who we are. So a lot of people say they want to know a bunch before getting initiated. I mean, unless you know yourself, you know nothing. And the only way you know self is via initiation. So it's a first step that you have to jump into blindly in safe hands. The real issue is just making sure you trust the people that are doing it for you and making sure they're trustworthy. But other than that, do it.
We got some love for Kathy.
Okay. Dwight Anthony?
Yeah.
Aboru Aboye. Shout out to Botanica Candles and More and Kathy Egun. Everything that she spoke about was relevant and came to pass. Shout out to Kathy and shout out to Dwight. Thank you.
Yeah. I miss Kathy. Tell her I miss her. Okay?
Oh, she's awesome, yeah.
All right.
Bygone Music. Just got scratched. Is there anything to be mindful about Palo? I
get that a lot.
I want to be very careful with this because I don't want any misinterpretations. I love Mayombe. I love everything about it. Be careful not knowing enough doing what you're doing before doing it, if that makes sense. Like, make sure you know what you're doing before you do it because Palo is very powerful. So with anything, just make sure you're prepared. Because a lot of people like to run, you know, whether it's Bawalaos, Mayomberos, Santeros, everybody's trying to run now. You know, I pretty much mopped my godfather's floor for 6 years, you know, before, you know, I was given liberty to start directing on my own and things like that. So enjoy the process, whether you're mopping, whether you're, you know, grinding a stick, whether you're throwing chamalongo, whether you're, you know, I don't know, whatever you're doing, enjoy your process and don't run because that's where people usually trip.
Got it. All right. This is from Kid Glide.
All right. How often do you attend or clean your Orishas? Man, Kid. I'm pretty consistent, you know. I mean, when we look at the idea of the Ifa festival and the Orisha festival, ceremonially, we should clean them once a year, you know, with certain liquids and whatnot. But, I mean, definitely every time I feed them, you know, depending on the Orisha. You know, I mean, with the ones that, you know, might have more, you know, liquid than others, maybe. You know, maybe more frequently just because of chemical processes. But as long as they're clean, they're clean. A big one that everybody cleans once a year for sure is like olokun, you know, to utilize, you know, what's in there. But it's, as long as they're clean, it's all right per se. You clean the dust off of the outside too, but you know, once a year is more than enough depending on the frequency. Like you have some people who work a lot of Orisha and, you know, unfortunately or fortunately, it's always covered in blood. If not, I mean, it's just maintenance, you know, give it a peep, you know, but nothing critical.
Shout out again. We got nice. 113 people.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Also, shout out to the members' names. Like, y'all put some fire emojis for the members' names.
Yeah.
If we could like put like a culmination of just your members' names. Like this one's Feather Flame.
Oh yeah.
So please just go ahead.
Feather Flame. F squared. Right. I received my Alekis as a child, and the other parent that didn't approve of the religion ended up throwing them away and had me get baptized. Do the Orisha punish for something like this?
Ooh.
No, I mean definitely not you. Once again, the Orishas don't necessarily punish, but throwing away spiritually charged icons, not good business. But maybe the other parent really isn't worried about that because they don't believe in it. I don't know. We have to kind of look at how things went after that. But if you want them back, you can get them back via crowning Orisha or receiving different Orishas, depending on what your path is going to be. But punishment, no. Repercussions, maybe.
Fire emojis.
Fuego.
All right.
Aina.
We just got a new member.
Gilly, thank you.
I thought he already was one, but welcome
I think
back.
He upgraded. Or
yeah, welcome back.
Came back. Awesome.
Okay, here we go.
Zave, question. Olokun, which I have received. How do you create a relationship with said Orisha? I haven't had a godparent for...
Sometime.
Local, it really depends on the quantity of Orishas you have. Either you're taking care of them quarterly, annually, monthly. It depends on how much strain there is on your schedule. But something like that, to go into how to take care of it and all these different things, very secret deity that, I would never transgress upon. And Ifa coaching would help you quite a bit to be able to go into specifics after we verify, what you have. But as far as building a relationship, it's kind of like with human beings. The more you're around them, the better you treat them. That's how you build. That's how you construct. So it's the same with the Orishas.
All right, here we go.
Anthony, hey, I was wondering if you could explain the sign Irete Yekun for a child of Elegua. If so, I'd be very grateful. If you have the path to do Ifa, you might want to do it there, because in that sign was where Orumila would attend to his icons. That's actually, have you seen the movie Ace Ventura, Phil?
Yes, come on.
I love Jim Carrey, man. May God bless him where he is. And you remember the one when nature calls, when they blow they shoot the blow dart at him. That's in the Odu Irete Yekun.
All right.
So if that could help visualize things, but that's the Ifa of the blow dart. Irete Yekun has to be very careful to never practice witchcraft. Because that's where certain tribes in Africa would put poison and witchcraft on the end of darts and shoot them into animals or beings to either kill them or curse them. So avoid that behavior and, see which path you're going to fall into with any Ifa and Orisha, because that's a consecratory Odu.
All right. Shout out to Richie Conga.
Yeah, thank you very much. Before feeding my Egungun too, I was doing a prayer. I found the plates of the food I put for him. I found broken plate for his food. What do? I go to somebody about that. Usually, Irete Untedi says whenever a plate breaks within a home, you throw it out and you pour a spit rum on it. That way the negativity that it picked up, kind of disperses and dispels itself. If you're due for a reading wouldn't be a bad idea to see what the cause may have been. It might have been nothing. But that's probably the best course of action.
Fire emojis.
Thank you guys. God bless you. Thank you. Paco, what do you recommend when one has crowned Osha but gets handed Orula afterwards? Proceed. Definitely don't ask the guardian Orisha again. We're crowned already, so whatever's there is what's meant to be, I guess. No, definitely there, but just as far as processes, what's crowned is crowned. But proceed. Do your bowl. Build that relationship with your elders, see what next steps are, whether it's doing Ifa or becoming an Oriade or just all Orisha processes, whatever your goals are. But just move forward as if you received it before. As long as you received it, that's key.
All right. We got Tutal Bay.
Okay, awesome. Pardon, I have two questions. What's your best advice for Omo Shango, who's not crowned yet? And did you say if you have the hand of Ifa, one has to become a Bao'lao, or does that depend on the Ile? The best advice for the uncrowned child of Shango, if they want to get crowned, is get crowned. As far as becoming a Bao'lao, it completely depends on your criteria as a human being. If you fulfill the requirements. Ile, there's really, within that concept, our whole Ile is Ifa. So everything is within that umbrella. So there's never a case where, someone shouldn't do Ifa based on their house. That should be an option for every house, because that's our whole religion, or becoming Orisha priests, or, receiving anything. So, for the uncrowned child of Shango, get organized, because usually if you're identified as a reincarnate of Shango or follower of Shango, it's because you're meant to be crowned at some point before you leave Earth. A lot of the old Orishas would say that, no child of Shango should leave the Earth without a crown, just like the children of Oshun as well.
Okay, Joseph, these comments appear in pretty much every live video and every premiere. They ask about Palo Mayombe.
Yes, sir.
They're asking, will any guest ever be on the show about that?
Hello from End of the World. Will guests representing the Palo Mayombe path ever appear here? Absolutely. We're always looking. If we could, be recommended somebody that, is coherent and, has tenure and has, good conversation. We're open. We did a Wicca episode today that we're going to be coming out with eventually.
That was a fire episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fire.
Yeah, fuego. And, I mean, as long as they're, an upstanding member of the cybernetic or religious community, I mean, we're all for it. It's not us. We're not stopping it at all. We'll interview anybody as long as what they're saying and, their criteria is, common.
Wow. All right, here we go.
Brenda, what are your thoughts about Oshemeji? I'm crowning my daughter, who is Hija de Ochun, next week. Everyone thinks she is too
young.
Ideally, we want to crown people after the age of 7. If that's not happening, just make it as comfortable as possible for her. Oshemeji in the hand of Ifa is great. I mean, I understand why someone would feel really motivated to crown the child there, because in that sign was where Orumila and Oshun's child got sick, and who crowned the daughter was Yemaya, and who directed the Orisha process was Shango as the Oriade. I mean, if it's happening, it's happening. Just make sure the young lady's comfortable. But I mean, I 7 years is what Osakuleya says, and Oshemeji speaks of it as well. Because when the child got sick was around 7 years old. So I'm not trying to, speed bump anything, but, let's just be sure about what we're doing. Let's make sure everybody understands the ramification that, a child's life and destiny is in our hands, and, let's move forward accordingly.
All right, here we go. From Moonchild, another hot name.
Oh, yeah. What does it mean to receive an eshu, the stone you put behind the door? So a stone is not an eshu. Something filled with something and has a stone on it is an issue. So if you received elegua, the rock, from an Orisha priest, which is what they're eligible to give, you're basically receiving an Orisha or a deity. Educate yourself on it via your elders first and foremost, and then whatever you can find that's coherent. But it's basically to protect the house, bring blessings, remove negativity, etc.
All right.
Brenda, and where can I find more info on Irete Otura sign in Mano de Orula? Well, that's actually my sign. I'm Irete Suga, I'm Irete Otura. Elders, and if you're not in contact with them or whatnot, we also provide a service known as an Odu interpretation session, where we take about an hour and a half to, talk about all of the patagis. And then apart from that, we also give you a book on said sign in the language of choice, ideally either English, Spanish, or Yoruba.
All right.
Gigi, are you currently initiating people and accepting godchildren? Yes, the books are open, as we like to say, but I will say that the schedule is fierce. So please reach out as promptly as possible when you're ready to inquire about pricing and whatnot, and we'll get you in there. But I will tell you that it's moving ferociously. I mean, the schedule's a little scary.
Have you ever been to Nashville?
I think one time in a layover.
Oh, but never actually experienced.
No, I would have had barbecue.
Oh, okay.
The food is good, I heard.
That's from Jeremiah.
All right. How do I find Iles and Baolaos in the area I'm in? I'm in Nashville, which is in Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And I've been to Botanica here, but of course you can't find people here so easily like you can in Miami and New York. You have to really utilize the resource of the internet, forums, things like that. It's seemingly not a place where Ifa and Orisha have, really penetrated. I know there's probably much more of a following in Memphis. We interviewed Mike Porter and a couple other brothers that, are from over there or have interacted with them. I think the religion is much more present in Memphis. So that might be a next, or at least a starting point in your search.
Okay. All right. Boom.
Aja. Modupe Bawa. All right. Thank you. Can I start working with Obadala or another Orisha by myself to help break addiction, or do I need a reading?
First.
If you're a crowned Orisha priest, you can work with whatever Orisha you want immediately. If you want more clarity as to which Orisha you should work with, you can get a reading via Ifa or Orisha, or you can, throw Obi yourself to see which one, or, there's options there. But if you need guidance, definitely get somebody who's versed to be able to help you clarify who you should start working with first based on productivity. Hey. Dwight, Maisefa Odu was Owonring Osa. Very nice. Owani Wosaso. And I received the Egun icon. Very good. Can you expound on this? Absolutely. Owani Wosa is the Odu where Orisha Oro Isalaye, or came down from heaven to earth. It's also in the Odu Obewenye as well. Egungun should be received by everybody. But in that Odu especially, because ideally someone should have Egungun before initiating into the Oro fraternity, if you're eligible. If not, Egungun is going to be the focus there to be able to really delve into that practice, and it's going to be awesome for you. So you kind of have to identify what is it that you want to do. If you're already a Bawalao, because I saw you said that your sign was this and, Hand of Ifa. Forgive me if this is your actual sign still, based on you not being a Bawalao, you kind of have to decide what do you want to do. Because, Oro was initiated as a Bawalao there, as well as in the Odu Behunle. You're pretty much eligible based on criteria. So you kind of have to get with your elders and see what your next steps are. But if you do choose to do Ifa, you don't need Oro right now. I would recommend Orisha, or obviously Ifa. If you want to do Orisha, you have to debate what's most productive there. Do you want to do Oro? Do you want to do Orisha? Orisha is always more productive, but Oro might be more accessible and provide some benefit there. So many ways to go. Get with your elders, or, you can coach with us as well.
Okay, so we are running a little bit out of time here. It's already after 7, but
really,
yeah. Let's get some couple more in here.
Oshun. Can you talk about the letter Osha Obe or Oshadi? I would imagine they're referring to Oshe. Osheni Lobe is the Odu of where fish. One of the first Odus where fish was offered to the head. So that's definitely something that I would recommend for the person there. Oshedi. Literally means, Oshe, soap, Idi, washed our body. So they definitely want to utilize like black soaps and things like that from an Ifa standpoint, or have a soap prepared through that sign for your benefit. So, but the spiritual hygiene is very important there.
Okay, someone asked a question about me.
Podcast doctor, sir, which Orisha has your head? Phil is a son of Olodumare. Directly.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Vadim, how important is receiving Odudua and Ira de Wang Wang? Very important. If you're, well, let me finish the question. And in my Ita, my padrino gave me, it didn't say so, but I've read
Azowano. Also.
You have to identify what you're doing with your career. If you're going to be a Bawalao, all of those things can come after Ifa initiation. If you're not, I tell you, Odudua is extremely important there, because it speaks of the story where the guy found Odua's body and figured out it was his father. And it's where Odua's, home was born. As far as Bawaluaye, it's a little bit debatable. I mean, if you want, all of the Iretes have to do with Bawaluaye, but I definitely wouldn't receive that before Odua, and I wouldn't receive Odua before doing Ifa or Orisha.
Okay, here we go.
Infinite Minds, peace and blessings. Do you practice Isheshe, or what specifically? I'm new to your channel. So, by base practice, I am not on Isheshe. By no means. I was initiated Lukumi Criollo. I was very blessed, though. I went through a lot of apprenticeships with purely Isheshe Bawalaos, which led to my knowledge of how to consecrate the Egungun icon, Ajay icon, various processes within there. But my initiations are Lukumi. I do not perform Isefa from a Isheshe standpoint, even though I know how, and even though I've worked quite a few, I like our ceremony. But to each his own. It's a beautiful process over there as well. But I cannot classify myself as an Isheshe Bawalao, even though I was able to learn a little bit, and I do give certain deities in a completely Isheshe context.
Okay, hold on. One's a two-parter here. Here you go.
Okay, I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna say cool. Does effectiveness increase, or does it not matter whether we are initiated? Initiation is the only way to be effective. The only time that doesn't apply is when you're like a spiritual medium, and even then you want to get crowned in spiritism. But there's no way to be effective with an Orisha unless you're initiated, or you're functioning via an initiate. But even then, it's not going to provide the same results. No one's going to give you better results than you. So that's where efficiency really comes in, is after initiation.
All right, they got more.
Okay.
Those two.
I'm asking from the point of view of a person living in a house full of ghosts. Most of them have never been human. They are not ancestors, but they are malicious, and simple prayers do not help much. What to do?
Oh, my gosh.
Please get a reading as quickly as possible. Those are not ghosts. Those are ajogun, or negativities. They're beyond, they probably were never alive. They were ancestral negative spirits or energies. I won't say the word demons because that's not really within our vocabulary, but I don't know. It's sounding pretty close. Get a reading quick.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. People want to know when's Freddie coming back.
Freddie, we got to reach out to Freddie. He's a busy man. He does a lot of misas. He's a very active guy over there, man. God bless him wherever he is.
Brenda's also asking about the booking. You can just go to the website, right?
What's the price on booking for you breaking down the Odus? Yeah, all of that is at botanicacandlesandmore.com. If you have any questions whatsoever, call the store, 407-440-2086, if you have any questions as far as breakdown and what it includes. But we'll spend an hour and a half on the sign. It'll be me and you personally, and we'll provide you written literature, legitimate, that you can study and take to the bank.
Okay.
Trinidad. Hello. What are some ways to worship our ancestors without burning candles? Basically, you would worship them the same way, just without lighting the candle. Food offerings, music, maybe singing to them if you're knowledgeable. Definitely refer to your elders for sure.
Okay, I think it's time to wrap it up here. I know.
Really?
Yeah, man. We've already hour and 15 minutes here.
Oh God, I gotta get home to my babies.
Yeah, I gotta go to Kissimmee too.
Oh God. Yeah. Well, guys, what did we get up to, Phil? What was 115?
126, I think, was the max.
Jeez. Guys, I really love doing these, just opening up and going live because, we go over such eclectic topics and, it's nice to interact with everybody. I love my members, but I love everybody. And, definitely if you want to do this on a monthly basis, get in the membership program within your means. We appreciate all the support, whether you're in it or not. Let somebody know about the channel or the membership program if it can benefit them. botanicacandlesandmore.com is up and running for services, merch, products, absolutely everything. The podcast is on all major platforms. From the bottom of our hearts, all of us here at Our Roots Podcast, thank you. And until next time, see the light.
Can I plug my YouTube channel?
Yeah, definitely. Please.
So
Jen to Jen.
I'm technically live right now on that channel right now. It's a pre-recorded, but if you go to the Jen to Jen channel, it's a podcast. It's a funny podcast about how we view life through our different generational lenses. I'm a millennial. My co-host is a Gen Z. So Jen to Jen. So if you want to see my face, you can there.
For free.
For free.
Love you guys, man.
All right, guys. We will catch you later.
Boy.